friends. So this past weekend was Book Bonanza in Dallas, Texas. And I am very much in the middle of a post-signing hangover. It was a very busy, a very hectic 2 days, and I'm so tired, but this is my last day before I have to go back to work, so I wanted to film my Book Bonanza haul. There are a lot of books to get through. I am wearing my Book Bonanza shirt, and let's go ahead and get started. The first 2 books that I have to share with you were actually in the swag bags that you get for signing up to come to Book Bonanza. And that is Misadventures with a Professor by Sierra Simone, which is actually a duplicate for me, so kind of disappointing, but oh well. And then The Red Ledger Reborn by Meredith Wild. I don't know much about this. I've never actually read a Meredith Wild book. My sister has before, and she really liked them, so I'm curious to see what's going on with this, but I don't know yet. This year at the signing, the bookstore was the actual Bookworm box shop, so they were doing these like mystery grab bag things where it kind of had the genre on a tag attached to the bag, and you pick the genre and then open it up to see what books you get. And I pre-ordered 2 of those, and then I bought another one while we were there. So I pre-ordered a sports bag, and I got the just Breakpoint by Rachel Blaufeld something. I don't know. This one actually sounds pretty interesting. It's about a tennis player, and I believe her coach or trainer, something along those lines. But sports romances I am all about, so definitely going to be picking this one up. I ordered I think it was called the Book Hangover bag, and I ended up with Losing Gabriel, A Love Story by Lurleen McDaniel, who I have read before, but it was when I was in high school. There was this book, I don't even remember what it was called, but it was about, like, the girl's boyfriend was on her dad's football team, and he ends up with cancer, and this book's gonna make me cry. I have a feeling. I think every book I've ever read by Lurleen McDaniel has made me cry, so yeah. The third grab bag that I picked up was called the Rom-Com bag, and I ended up with Small Admissions by Amy Poble? Something along those lines. Again, don't know much about this one, haven't actually read the back of it yet, but it's a pretty cover. In one of my grab bags, I actually got a golden ticket, which were these little like golden cardboard pieces that they had put in some of the bags for winning free stuff, and I won a free Bookworm box that had, it was like a grocery bag, reusable grocery bag, and then a bookmark, and then the next 3 books that I'm going to show you all came in this box. The first book was Dear Bridget, I Want You by Penelope Ward and Vi Keeland. I've read these 2 authors separately, but I've never read any of the books that they've co-written. And this one is something about a doctor or nurse, I guess. He's wearing a stethoscope. I don't know. I also got Behind the Bars, the Music Street series by Brittany C. Cherry. And I actually bought another Brittany C. Cherry book while I was at the event. I'll get to it later. But this one is Musicians in New Orleans. The third book I got in the Bookworm box is Release by Dylan Allen. I don't think I've ever read anything by Dylan Allen. I've definitely never heard of this book, but it's a pretty cover. I like the color of it, so we'll see. The next 3 books were free with purchase at the Bookworm box shop, which is where I bought the grab bag and 2 other books that I'll get to later when I get to the section of books that I bought. But that is the Caselli Family series by Tamara Hanscom. The first one is The Pretender, A Blackguard in Disguise. The second one is Pit of Ambition. And the third one is A Blackguard's Redemption. And I don't really know about these books. I've never heard of them. I've never heard of this author. My mom actually said she would read them first and see if it's something I was interested in, since I have so many other ones to get to. So my mom's going to check these out for me and see if it's something I might be interested in, and yeah, we'll see. The next 2 books I have were actually free, given to us. I know she's done it at this year and last year's Book Bonanza. I don't know if, I'm assuming she does it at every signing, but when we got in line for J.S. Scott, her assistant or somebody, I'm not sure who he actually was, I'm assuming an assistant, came and handed us like this big swag bag thing and a book. So we actually got Dearest Stalker, a complete collection, J.S. Scott writing as Lane Parker, for free. This, as far as I can tell from the back, this is about a woman falling in love with the idea of having a stalker and kind of therefore falling in love with the stalker. I don't know about this one. Again, my mom really likes J.S. Scott, which is kind of weird, but she said she'd read it. She said she wanted to read it after I was done, and I was like, I have so many more. Take it first. It's not... I may never get to this with how many books I have on my TBR currently. And finally, we were sitting in line waiting for the doors to open to the Saturday afternoon final signing, and a woman came up and was like, does anybody like small town contemporary romance? And everybody in our little section of the line said yes, and she started passing out these books. And it is Reunion Past by Emily March, who was actually at the signing, but we did never make it over to her table, so didn't get this one signed, but it looks cute. I believe it's, I've kind of read the back of it, I believe it's a second chance romance, and there's a cute doggy on the cover. How adorable. So the next giant set of books that I have to show you is the pre-orders that I did. I spent so much money on pre-orders. It was kind of crazy, but let me show you. So last year at Book Bonanza, I actually bought Scoring Wilder from R.S. Gray, and I loved it. And I've read some of her rom-coms, but I preferred the Scoring Wilder sports romance. I ended up pre-ordering her other two books that are kind of set in the same world. They're contemporary, but I got the Summer Games books, Settling the Score and Out of Bounds. I believe one is a gymnast. Yes, one is a gymnast and a coach, which now that I'm reading that, I'm kind of like iffy about because of things that have happened in the gymnastics world that I love to watch. So, and then this one, I believe she's a soccer player and he's a swimmer, which I'm very interested in. This one I'm kind of iffy about now. We'll have to see how it plays out in the actual story. I pre-ordered 3 books from Ilsa Madden Mills, and she didn't get to my wristband number, so I was only able to pick them up. They are signed, they're just not personalized, so that's a bummer, but I bought Filthy English, which is the second, I don't know what the actual series is called. I have Dirty English, and I got it from the actual Bookworm Box shop when we went a couple of years ago, I think 2 years ago. And I've read this one, but I never owned the physical copy, and she had a thing where if you buy like 2 or 3 pre-orders, it's a discount, so I picked that up. And then I also pre-ordered I Dare You and I Bet You. These are, I believe, both football romances, and my sister says she had these on her Kindle, but I don't remember ever seeing these covers on there, so I haven't read these yet. But again, sports romances, very interested. So I read Adriana Locke's Dogwood Lane series a couple months ago. I read the first one in the series a couple months ago. And then right as the second one was coming out, I pre-ordered that one for a release day pickup, and then went on to her Book Bonanza pre-order, and she had like a bundle thing of if you buy 3, you get a discount. So I bought the first in each of her series. So I bought Sway in the Landry Family series. I got The Exception. I don't know what this series is actually called. And I bought Crank in the Gibson Boys series. And Adriana Locke was a gem of a human. She was so sweet. She actually recognized me, which was kind of crazy. I'd never met her before, but I think we had went to a panel that she was on last year, so that was kind of weird, but she was very sweet, lovely, and really enjoyed meeting her. This next series I had seen a couple of people talk about on BookTube, and then I read the synopsis on Goodreads for each book, and they all sounded interesting, so I ordered, I believe, the whole series that's out anyway. That is the Lark Cove series by Devney Perry. I'm almost positive these are out of order, so don't like quote this in order. The first one I have is Tinsel. Next I have Tragic, Timid, and Tattered. And I believe these are all small town romances. I don't know much about them other than that, but I'd seen somebody talk about one on BookTube, and it sounded really interesting, and I don't remember what exactly drew me into it, but I'm really excited to get to these and pick them up and find out what happened. Again, I ordered a whole series, 2 whole series actually never having read this author. So that was interesting, but then we saw her on the rom-com panel, and she was hilarious, so I'm super glad that I had already bought these. I had already paid for these books, because I probably would have bought them anyway after seeing her on the panel. So I have The Negotiator by Avery Flynn, The Charmer, and The Schemer, and these are all part of a series. I believe they're standalones within the same series, but I don't actually know what's going on in these either. But, yeah. The other series I ordered from Avery Flynn, again, I don't know the actual name of the series, but I got Butterface and Muffin Top. And I actually pre-ordered Tomboy as well, but it wasn't in the bag. So I emailed her and told her that I was missing one, and she emailed back and was like, this is what I get for trying to do this without an assistant. So it's on the way. It's just not, it's on the way, but like the Book Bonanza was this past weekend, so it'll be here at some point. The next pre-order was from Penny Reed, and looking at these books, actually, this first one wasn't a pre-order. I picked it up free at her table, and it is a Smarty Pants romance sampler. She's doing a new thing where she's letting other authors write stories about characters in her world, and this is just a little sampler of some of the ones. I think it's all the ones that come out in October and November, which is interesting, but I don't know how I'm going to afford all of these books, so the little sampler will help me narrow it down to which ones I want to actually buy. I also pre-ordered the 2 Winston Brothers series books that I did not have, and that was Truth or Beard, number 1, and Beard Science, number 3. Now I have the whole Winston Brothers series that is out so far, and I adore these books so much. They're small town romances, obviously about brothers, obviously bearded. I love these covers. The brothers are so sweet. I cannot wait to... I'll probably reread this series sometime soon, actually, even though I have so many books to read. I will probably reread this. I also pre-ordered another series from Penny Reed that she co-wrote with L.H. Cosway. And again, I don't think these are in the right order, but I have The Hooker and the Hermit, The Player and the Pixie, The Cad and the Coed, I think is how you pronounce that, and The Varlet and the Voyeur. And as far as I know, these are all rugby romances, I believe. They're sports romances. I believe they're rugby anyway. The last thing I pre-ordered is, I believe, the last series that I have by Helena Hunting that I need to read. And that was the entire Pucked series. Oh my god, I just saw that stack on the screen. Wow. So, I got Pucked, Pucked Up, Pucked Over, Forever Pucked, Pucked Area 51 Deleted Scenes and Outtakes, Pucked Under, Pucked Off, Get Inked, which is actually a crossover from the Pucked series to the Clipped Wings series that I just read, so I'm really excited to get to this one. Pucked Love, and finally, Pucks and Penalties, Pucked Series Outtakes and Deleted Scenes version 2.0. So finally, the last set of books that I have to show you are the ones that I bought at the event. The first 2 came from the Bookworm Box Shop store. I bought All It Takes by Kristen Proby. This is her newest release in her Romancing Manhattan series. And I read the first one back in July, and the only reason I didn't have this one is because I believe it released in July, and I just wasn't sure if I would get it before we had to leave for Book Bonanza since we went early to a wedding. I just wasn't sure if I'd get it in time, so I didn't buy it, and then I saw it in the bookstore, and I was like, yep, gotta have it. The other book I bought was Ravaged by Tilly Cole, who unfortunately had to cancel for this year's Book Bonanza. This is part of her Scarred Souls series, which I've read. I have a bind-up of Raise and Reap, and I didn't actually know that there was a third one, but I'm super excited to get back into this world because it was a very dark romance, and I really enjoyed it. So for So in July, I did the reading vlogs for reading Book Bonanza authors, and I read 3 books in the Misadventure series by Lauren Rowe and really loved them. So she was actually the first author that I went up to. I was gonna get a wristband, but then there was nobody at her table, so I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and go now, get this one done with. And I was chatting to her and I was telling her about what I liked about her Misadventures books and everything, and which ones did she suggest I start with. And she kind of was like, let me hand you to my assistant, because I'm never sure when people ask me this. And her assistant and her kind of chatted for a little bit and came up with these 2 options. And I was only going to buy one, but then I was kind of just like, let's do both. So I bought Captain and Hero. This one is a firefighter. I don't remember what she said this one was. But yes, I am super excited to get to these. I loved her Misadventures books. So she had a lot of books to get through, and this is only just 2 of them. So probably going to end up with a lot more Lauren Rowe in the future. This next book, I believe I heard about on BookTube, but somebody read it for a readathon or in a reading vlog or something and really enjoyed it. And so when I saw that Brittany C. Cherry was going to be there, I didn't actually get a wristband for her, but my sister had one. So I was like, can you buy me this book and then I'll pay you back for it? So I bought The Gravity of Us, the Element series, book 4. I believe whoever read it on BookTube said that you can read it as a standalone. I really should double check that. But my sister already had book 1. This was actually the series that my sister had for Brittany C. Cherry to sign. So I can at least get book 1 and then maybe Kindle book 2 and 3 before I pick this one up. But don't know much about it now, and I'm trying to not read the back of it now that I see that it's book 4. I thought it was a standalone. I don't know where I got that idea from. So my sister and I do this thing, or we've done it twice now. We've only gone to Book Bonanza I've only gone to Book Bonanza signings. I think she's been to a Romantic Times. Anyway, we do this thing where we go and have the author sign a book, or sign a, autograph book, and give us book recommendations to check out. This was actually a recommendation, I believe it's from Kim Holden. This author was right next to her table, and there was nobody in line at her table when we went up, so I was just like, I'm gonna go ahead and buy the book. And that is How to Kill a Rockstar by Tiffany DeBartolo. She was super sweet. She's a hugger, which was, I'm not a hugger, but I can appreciate when huggers. Anyway, not the point. I don't know much about this, How to Kill a Rockstar. I'm assuming there's a rockstar romance and then maybe a heartbreak. I don't know. Anyway, we will see. This next book is one that I knew going into the weekend that I wanted to buy. I had seen it on 5 people between Instagram and BookTube put it in their favorite books of the year so far list. So I knew that I wanted to pick this up, and I couldn't get a wristband for this author on Friday. They were out already, and they weren't handing out anymore Saturday morning until she got through some of the ones from Friday. I don't know how many they handed out on Friday, but I missed when they handed out more on Saturday morning, and then I went back Saturday afternoon, and they were not handing out anymore until she got through some of them. So finally, it was 2 hours left in the signing, and I was just like, if I come back later, can I try to sneak in the line? Because I just want to buy one of her books. The volunteer that was there was like, well, it won't be signed, but if you want to come back towards the last 30 minutes, we can see if she has any left, and you can buy it then. Because the priority goes to people with the wristbands, and that makes 100% sense to me. So it was the signing ended at 6. It was about 5:40, and I went back over there, and it was actually a different volunteer this time that was there. And I told her what happened earlier, that I couldn't get a wristband, that I just wanted to buy the book. It didn't have to be signed. I understand that it wouldn't be. So she took my money and went back to go get me this book. And she came back, and she was she held it out open, and it was signed. She was like, I just snuck it in real fast for you. And I was like, you were so sweet. So sweet. But anyway, the book is A Lesson in Thorns by Sierra Simone, and I did actually get it signed. Not personalized, but that's perfectly fine with me. I haven't actually read it yet, but I know that it was I don't remember who all I saw it on. I'm gonna cry just thinking about this volunteer. I don't remember who all I saw it on. I definitely remember Riley Marie putting it in her favorite books of the year so far. So, super excited to pick this one up. I've heard it's very good and very dirty. While we were kind of the last 30-45 minutes, we were kind of waiting for some of our wristband numbers to get called up and going to authors who we've read only a couple of so far, and this is actually where the next two books came from, the same author, but I read her Nordic King book, I think is what it was called, where it was like the nanny and the twin girls and the king. And I bought from that same series The Wild Heir by Karina Halley. She said her name for me and I still don't remember. But this one is a prince and he's the wild heir, obviously. A marriage of convenience of royal proportions. Also from Karina Halley, I bought Discretion, which is a gorgeous cover. And I don't know much about this one I think she's like traveling through Europe or something, and then she meets I think it said France's most eligible bachelor, so this one sounds fun. And finally, the last book I picked up was from the very last author that I met. Only in July, I bought On the Island by Tracy Garvis Graves, and I loved it, and I wanted to pick up, I actually wanted to buy a different book from her, but like I said, it was the very end of the last signing, and she was already out of that other book, was it The Girl He Used to Know, or The One He Used to Know, or something? But she did have copies of the On the Island sequel novella, and it's called Uncharted. This actual physical copy was like the same price that I've seen the ebook of this novella for. So I decided to go ahead and buy it because a lot of people really love this novella as well as On the Island. So I can't wait to get to this and pick it up. So these are all the books that I came home with from Book Bonanza. I would say it was a pretty good haul. I cannot wait to get to some of these. I don't know how I'm going to get to all of these, plus all the books already on my TBR, plus all the new releases that I have coming out this month. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you've read any of these books, let me know, and maybe I'll move it kind of up on my list of things that I want to get to, perhaps. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!